I was going to say, if you were in the real world, you still might do things that bodies do, but you wouldn't need to.
Well, it's even more than that. You yourself would not do that. In other words, within the dream, that's what the appearance would be. In other words, that the center for you when you're in the real world is not your body. So your body may do all kinds of things, but it's not you who's doing it, because you know you are not you. The world may perceive you that way, just as they perceive Jesus in certain ways. But the way that people will perceive you will be through the projections of their own dream. We're talking about not a quantitative shift, a qualitative shift where the center of your being is now totally outside of the dream, which makes it practically impossible to understand it from the perspective of the dream. It would have been much wiser for the rise of the New Testament to simply say, I don't know who Jesus is. That would have been a much more honest statement than to say, I do know, and then write about it. When they were writing about it, again, from the perspective of their own dream, which again is why the Bible is such a mixed bag. It's so inconsistent, and therefore the teachings of the church and the practice of the church has been so inconsistent. Linda?
There's a feeling sometimes that you get that you're an observer of what is going on, but you don't really make a judgment of who you are. And in rare instances, you understand that you're an observer of yourself. Is that one foot into the real world?
Yes, that's exactly what we're talking about.
Jesus could never have been seen by those people for who he was because of the way they were, because they were part of a dream.
I think that's true. That's why he says in chapter 6 that the apostles got things upside down because of their fear. Fear inevitably leads to a distortion of perception, because it begins with a distortion. I'm afraid because I think I sinned against God and God will punish me. That's a gross distortion, of the reality. And so therefore that distorted thought will inevitably lead to a distorted perception. And again, it would have been much more honest and much more humble and less arrogant if the rise of the New Testament had simply said, I don't know, rather than say, oh, sure, I know, and then write a book and books and letters which clearly came from their own unconscious.
They also, talking about the New Testament, had to make him the fulfillment of the prophetic statements in the Old Testament. So they tied him as the Messiah to make everything that was prophesied come true, and say that this is the event and this is the person. So that's also another distortion. They try to fit him in to something that they wanted to see.
So making a part of the dream.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Could you please explain how you use the word hologram?
It's not on the board anymore. It's gone. It's disappeared.
Hologram correction.
Oh, it's still there. I'm sorry. Right. Okay, you got me.
Why? Because in the hologram, each piece contains the whole. So the idea that we're all part of the Christ, and we're part of the whole, and then we're part of the ego that fragmented, and in that sense too. So any way you look at it, it's a non-separating thought. In other words, a hologram shows you that even though it seems to be a piece, it contains the whole. So for that reason, you want to go into any other reasons?
In the
There's
course,
lots of reasons.
in the course, Jesus doesn't use that term, obviously, but he does talk about that principle that the whole is found in every part. And he means that both on the level of Christ as well as the ego system. When he says one brother is all brothers, he's saying the whole of Christ is found in every part. And when you forgive one brother totally, then that must mean you've forgiven all of them because it's all one. So that basically is one of the chief characteristics of a hologram, that the whole is found in every part. We also use it because it doesn't have the linear connotations that other words do. So the ego thought system does not exist in time and space. And the correction, obviously, does not exist in time and space, even though we experience it that way. So we use it both because of that principle, the whole is found in every part, as well as kind of expressing a non-linear view, because that's what it is.